Hi everyone, this is Margarita with City Gal Papeterie, and in today's video I wanted to just share how I like to create my scrappy cards. They're my favorite types of cards to make, and I use a lot of scrap paper when I do this. I'm going to start with a few card bases. These are already pre-cut, pre-measured, and pre-scored, so I'm just folding them in half. They are A2 size cards, so they are 4¼ by 5½ once folded. And then I grab a bunch of recycled cardstock, and I am going to use the backs of these pattern papers to use as my card mats. And then I grab my scrap paper stash, which is super unorganized because I've been using it so much lately. And I start rummaging through and finding papers that go together or coordinate. And I don't have any particular designs in mind. It really all depends on what I find in my little scrap stash there in my bin. And I'm just kind of eyeballing my measurements to make sure that everything is going to fit on my card mat. Sometimes I like to run my card mats through my Big Shot with some embossing folders to give them some texture and some like extra design. But I didn't do that with these because I knew I was going to cover most of the card mat. So I didn't really think that there was much of a point in doing that. I'm going to go through, I think 4 card mats in this video, and complete 4 fully completed cards. And I'm just using regular glue because I have run out of my double-sided tape, which I've ordered. So I should be getting it soon. But yeah, you can see that's a piece of scrap that I cut something out of from my Cricut. And I love this shiny paper, so no matter how much I use it up, I always save the scraps because I always know I'm going to use it for something. And yeah, that's my last little bit of double-sided tape that I'm being super cheap with because that's all I got until I get new one. So I had that like frame that I had cut a square out of for another project, and I kept it because I thought it looked like a little picture frame. So I'm going to use it here, and then I just kind of overlapped it on one side with the mirror cardstock. And then I don't think this is the center for this piece, but I used another piece from the same pattern paper to layer over the top using dimensional squares. This is my next mat, or my next panel that I'm working on now. Different pattern paper from my scrap stash. I adhere that down to one side, and then I again go through my scraps to see what might coordinate or look good with, against that paper. I've settled on the polka dot, on the pink polka dot paper, but I wasn't too sure about what else I was going to do with this card. And I found this tiny little strip, and I probably saved it because I like the color. But yeah, if you're familiar with my channel, you know that I am a hoarder of scraps. But I do find use for them, in my defense. Even the littlest scrap. I tear the side of this piece to give it some texture and interest. And then before adhering that down, I add a piece of yellow cardstock to the opposite side of that other pattern paper with the feathers. I trim the excess, and then I add my little pink piece using the foam squares. Now sometimes I just make a bunch of these card mats, like these little panels, and I save them, and I don't put any sentiments on them until I need them. Or sometimes I have an earlier video where I have scraps saved in different envelopes. Here I'm just creating the next card panel, and I'm just again going through the same process, looking for different pieces of scrap that go together, and then trying to layer them on the card mat in a way that is appealing to the eye, or to my eye anyway. So yeah, so I have a previous video where I was showing how I store some of my scrap pieces, and sometimes I use those scrap pieces to create some of these card mats, and then I set them aside until I'm in the mood to create some cards, and then I'll come back and do something similar to this. So now that I've finished the panels that I want, I've added some sewing to them. So there's some stitching little details here and there. As you can see, I really like how the stitching details look. And then for my next step, I'm going to add some twine. So I kind of go through this process often when I make these panels. I kind of start with just the background, adding some minimal dimension, and then I start layering from there. So I try to also do the same thing for all of them at the same time. So in the beginning, I'm adding just pieces of scrap paper, different patterns, everything, you know, the things that are coordinating. Then I'll come back and I'll add twine to all of them, or washi tape to all of them. Then I'll add some other element like maybe enamel dots to all of them. So this way I don't really complete one full card at a time. I kind of work in batches, and that's because I don't have a lot of time. So this way I can make a few cards almost all at once instead of just one at a time. And I don't know, I find that that system works for me. And so now I'm just gonna, once I'm done putting the twine for each one, I'm gonna adhere my panel onto my card base. And I waited because I know that I want to tuck the twine behind the panel, and this way I don't have to tear it back off of the card base once I, you know, put it down. So I'm going to use this baker's twine for this one, and then a glue dot to stick it right down onto the top of the stitching detail on this card. I really like this card. It's not the type of pattern paper that I would normally use, but I like that once I added the paint chips to it, it just made it like, it kind of added a little modern to a little vintage, and I really like that style, that look. I use the same baker's twine for this panel as well. Now initially I chose a position for the bow, but then I come back and I change where the bow is later on when I add my sentiment, I think. But for now, it's on the bottom left corner. So once my twine is down and I know I'm not going to need to put anything on the back of the panel, I adhere it to my card base. And now I come back again with some washi tape. And I'm going to add washi tape to, I don't know if I add it to all of them, but I go through each one to see if I want to add some washi tape. And here's just a quick tip. Sometimes washi tape is not permanent. It will sometimes curl up or come off. So I do like to pass my washi tape onto a glue stick before I adhere it onto my project. I don't always do that. Like this particular tape with the gold stripes is very sticky, so I don't need to do that step. And it even comes with its own release paper, and that's because it's very sticky. So that one doesn't need the extra step of the glue stick, but I do like to do that with my washi tape if I want it to be permanent. So this is where I'm at right now. You can see the cards. Now I'm going to add doilies to each one. And each batch that I make, it varies, depends on what my mood is, it depends on what I have around me, what I have in my stash, what kind of products I want to kind of use up at the time. It's kind of like a little use it or lose it type of thing, you know, where I'm kind of done looking at this paper or looking at a certain product in my craft space, and I just want to use it up. So I add this little doily. These doilies are from Stampin' Up. I don't think they have them anymore, but they're really cute and very detailed. You could probably use a die cut doily if you have a die that will give you the same shape. And now for the sentiments. So you see what I have there. I have like my card bases ready and they just need sentiments. For sentiments, you can use stickers. I have this sticker book that has a bunch of birthday stickers. And as you saw there, I sometimes take the stickers off. I put them on scrap cardstock and then I cut them out so that they're thicker than just the sticker thickness. I hope that made sense. That was like a tongue twister. And I also take a bunch of scraps and I pre-stamp sentiments and I keep them around as you're seeing right now so that I can use for projects and for cards for this particular thing. The top two cards on the right hand side have pre-printed die cuts that I think are from, those are Anna Griffin. So now I've decided what sentiments I'm going to use for each and I trim them down if necessary. This one says mis mejores deseos, which is my best wishes or best wishes. Here's another one that says wishing you joy on your special day. And I'm just trimming the frame because I don't like how it looks. And then I adhere that one once I know for certain that's what I want. The next one is an anniversary card, happy anniversary, and I'm just trimming off some of the white border because it was really thick. And I want the doily to show through. So I don't want it to be covered by all that white border. I adhere that down. And then my last one just says celebrate, which can be used for almost any occasion. And then I adhere that one down. That one would have, that one would have been nice elevated on foam squares also, but I think I just leave it flat. And then you can, continue adding things. You can add enamel dots, you can add sequins, you can add glitter if you wanted. Yeah, you can, kind of keep embellishing as much or as little as you want. And you get to use a lot of scraps in the process. So this is part of why I really love making these kinds of cards. So you see here I'm using little enamel dots and stickers to embellish the cards even more. And that completes these cards. Now I have 4 cards that I can use for different occasions. Here's just a little close-up of each one. And yeah, I really love making these kind of cards. I hope you guys give it a try. Use up some of your scraps and things in your stash. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe. And I'll see you all next time.